Hey guys, I wanted to have a little chat today about the things that just happened in Las Vegas. So as you know, this is Monday, October 2nd, and in the overnight, there was a massive shooting, the largest shooting, mass shooting in American history here in Las Vegas, about 12 minutes from our home. And it makes me want to discuss things that I normally don't talk about, and I usually intentionally don't talk about because I try and keep it positive, try and keep it motivational, try and keep it health and fitness oriented. You know, meathead and muscles and tight abs and all that good stuff. But at the same time, as a father, as a husband, as a son, as a brother, as a friend, as a community member, as an American, as a global citizen, as a human being, what's happening is not okay. What's happening is the abuse of information by our political class and by the media to perpetuate very specific narratives and storylines for their own personal gain, their own professional gain, their own political gain, their own financial gain. That's what it's about, right? All we hear is division. Black versus white, rich versus poor, Catholic versus Muslim, Jewish versus everybody. All we hear is division, whatever it is, division, 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 division. Division is all they talk about. Yet when I walk around in my community, when I see my neighbors, when I'm walking down my street, when I'm at the grocery store, when I'm at the library, when I'm at the coffee shop, all I see is an amazing, amazing group of people, loving people, happy people, multicultural people, completely different backgrounds, completely different family trees, completely different belief systems. But the thousands of people I interact with on a weekly basis are amazing. So the division that is being perpetuated by the politicians, the division that is being perpetuated by the media is for their own gain. The news that they put out is for their own gain. Conservative and liberal, doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's just anyone in those classes, the vast majority in those classes, and those with public microphones are the ones that are doing it, responsible for it. Why aren't they talking about the amazing things? Why aren't they talking about what the police ran into last night, the hundreds of brave law enforcement officers and first responders here in Las Vegas, and this is just one incident, here in Las Vegas that ran straight forward into the shooting, into the building. For what? For 50 grand, 40 grand, 60, 80 grand maybe if they're pulling overtime. I know these guys. They're in my family. They're my friends. They come to our gym. They're in my community. They're my neighbors, and guys and girls, emergency responders, medical, fire, and police, of course, and police. But we won't see those stories, most likely, a little blip here and there, but the vast majority, 90% of the media time, the actual watchable time, the tweetable time, is all going to be based upon division and race baiting and ethnicity issues and political persuasion. Everyone's looking to pin it now on Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow or Rush Limbaugh or Anderson Cooper, right? That's going to be a polarizing figure, and that's going to be part of this national narrative that is put on us by the ruling class, which is those who have information or access to information and those who have access to wealth. And that's really what it is. That's the politicians, and that's the greater media. So very rarely do we see the positive stories. Do we hear the positive take on how race relations truly are here in the United States? I'm not naive. I know there's terrible things that happen every day, everywhere, right? There's terrible, terrible things that happen every day, everywhere. I'm not naive to that. But at the same time, race relations here in the United States are the best they've ever been. The best they've ever been. When you look statistically, you actually count the numbers and you count the incidences and you compare those versus 10 years and 20 years and 30 years and 50 years ago. This country's come a long way, a far way, because new generations are coming through that don't see the same lines, same divisional lines that maybe our parents and grandparents and certainly great grandparents saw. So as the new generations come through, that's less of an issue. But the ruling class makes it an issue because what does it do? It makes you vote one way or the other. It's either a yes or no vote, for this idiot or for that idiot. It makes you watch one of the idiot bobbleheads talking, from a red studio or a blue studio, conservative, liberal, and they're both putting the same storyline out there with a slightly different spin on it, which keeps you tuned in, right? Keeps the advertising dollars flowing through, and it keeps a large amount of control over the community. Remember Ebola? Remember Ebola? Remember Zika? Remember how that polarized the nation for a few weeks? Because there was nothing else going on, so they needed your attention, they needed your ratings, and they zoomed you into that. Where'd that stuff go? What happened to that? What happened to that? Where's the cure to that? Where are the epidemic data points that was being thrust upon us everywhere we turned, everywhere we looked? What happened to that? Just a short, what was that, 18 months ago maybe, within the last 12 to 36 months, these stories get thrust upon us. And I'm sure you guys know, I'm sure you guys are aware, but I wanted to bring attention to the action of living in reality, not living in the pop culture reality, not living in that bubble. So you know that we've completely disconnected our television from outside sources. So there's no curated television in our home, or there's no, because I say we call it curated as in we curate exactly what we watch on TV, but there's no news networks that are pumped into our home. There's no access to it. We don't have television commercials. We don't know what's going on in the general basic news, right? Because when you watch the local news, it's shootings, it's stabbings, it's murder, it's domestic violence, it's politicians getting in trouble. That's all the news is about, right? Tragedy, 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 tragedy. Why? We shut that shit off. We shut that shit off and we focus on the positive. And don't say that I'm being naive to what's happening in the world. Those people who follow the news are naive to what's truly happening in the world, right? You hear these stories about what happened in these specific instances. It's 1 out of 350 or so million people here in the United States. And as I said earlier, walk into your coffee shop and talk to your neighbors. Walk into your grocery store and talk to your neighbors. See if that black kid really is about to mug you. See if that Muslim really is going to try and convert you, or whatever these stereotypes are. See if that Catholic guy is going to be thumping his Bible and telling you to praise Jesus. See if the old white guy is going to try and steal your money. Nope, they're probably going to hold the door open for you, and they're probably going to say hello. And if you're a few pennies short on your cup of coffee, each one of those individuals is probably going to happily pay that for you. That's the America I know. And that's the America I want to live in. That's the America I want my children to live in. That's the world I want you guys to live in. I want all of us to live in. And I think that should be the purpose. That should be hopefully our collective intention, which is to live other than the media is telling us to live other than the politicians are telling us to live. What politician do you actually respect? What politician do you respect, truly? Not is it cool, not are they badass, or not, do they have that specific flair? Which one of these human beings do you want to go in business with, truly? Which one of these human beings are you comfortable with your bank account number? Put it that way. So why are you allowing them to influence your thoughts, your decisions, your approach to life, your worldview? And when I say you, I'm not talking about you exactly on every point, so don't get offense. I do pay attention to the comments, and people take one thing I say as if I said it to them personally. Much broader, much larger conversation. The 350 or so million here in the United States, the 7.5 billion around the world. Judge those by your interactions with them. Right? Judge those by their treatment of you. Smile, smile, smile when you see someone. Hold the door. Good morning. Nice outside today, right? Cool breeze, like whatever pleasantries. I make it a point to engage in conversation with nearly everybody and not extended annoying. Hello, good morning. Have a nice day. Engaging with the community, engaging with the other humans, and some of which are taken aback by it and not used to that type of positive engagement because everybody's closed into their own little world because we're being told that we should be. It's like a prison yard out there. That's what they want, it seems, because that's the only narratives they're pushing on us. Division, division. Put the whites over here, put the blacks over there. If you stand for the flag, you love America. If you kneel for the flag, then you hate America and we hate you. That's what they're trying to do, and that's fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. I haven't heard one of those who kneel say that they hate America. I haven't heard a lot of what they've said, actually, because they're not really saying much about why and what the recourse is to make change. And this is another point. Those that are kneeling, those that are protesting, I get it. You've done a great job in getting your voice heard. Your movement is aware. The entire world literally is now paying attention. What can be done to assist you? What's the plan? What's your plan? What do you need? I don't hear that. So what is it? Again, it's being politicized. It's being politicized by the Jack Tappers or the Jake Tappers and the Tucker Carlsons and everybody else who's even trying. Let's say they're just trying to do a decent job from their perspective, from their audience. It's still a shit job, and it's not any information that you should be using, that you should be absorbing. It's all false. It's all fake news. Everything on TV is fake news. It's produced content for sales, for dollars. It's produced content for financial gain, just like a movie, just like a reality show, just like a sitcom, just like a Taylor Swift song. It's produced content for financial gain. Their sole interest is not in informing the public. Name one true journalist that just reports on news with zero bias. Every story would be pro-conservative and pro-liberal and pro-black and then pro-white, then pro-Muslim and then pro-Christian. That would be an unbiased journalism. Unbiased journalist. I don't see one. Please leave in a comment below where you get your news from. There's a few different sites that we'll look at. Typically, I'll go to all of the major BS sites and just see the Fox News story, then the CNN story, and then a few of the other smaller sites. And then I typically look to people I respect through social media that have some ins, they have some knowledge, they have some financing behind them. So they're producing content for profit, but not like the conglomerates, not like the large umbrella companies, right? Because the media companies are actually small arms of much larger companies. They're small divisions of much, much, much larger companies. And you can do your own research on that and just follow the money trail and see what the agenda is, right? The agenda is profit. Let's just say there's no maliciousness. Let's say that there's no malintent, there's no maliciousness. There's just simply greed. Okay? That makes it no more or less better. It still makes it flawed. It still makes it false. So then we have to do something about it collectively. And again, I go back to the grassroots, the community. The community. It's about what's in your community. It reminds me of a great analogy. Young man goes to college and he says, I am going to change the world. The young man graduates college, gets out into the world and says, wow, this is a big world. Too many people for me right now. Let me just focus on my country. I'm going to change my country. I'm going to change my country for the better. I love it. I'm going to change it. I have a few things, a few ideas that are going to change and fix everything. And then in a short time, this person realizes, wow, this is a big country. I can't get everybody to pay attention to me. So I'm just going to focus on my state. I'm just going to focus on the state I came from. I know these people. I'm from there. They'll listen to me. I'm going to change the people in my state. And in a short period of time, this person said, whoa, the state is massive. Nobody's paying attention to me. Why don't they want to hear what I have? You know what? Let me get even more distilled. Let me just focus on my hometown. My hometown where I grew up, the streets that I walked on, the schools that I went to. Let me just focus. Let me change my town. Let me start there. And in a short period of time, this person again says, I can't get anybody to pay attention to me. What the heck is going on? Why won't anyone pay attention to me? I have this amazing message and a blueprint to bring progress, to make everybody happier and healthier and better and just more set for the future. But my town won't even listen. Let me just go home and change my family. Let me help my family. Let me go home, change my family. In a short period of time, this person says, I don't know what to do. I can't even change my own family. They won't listen to me. They won't do what I tell them. I can clearly see what the problem is. With a few small tweaks, I can help them be so much better, so much happier. But they won't even listen. I guess I might as well just change myself. So this person did go about changing themselves. They did start to improve themselves. They did expand themselves. They did challenge themselves. And what happened? This person got healthier and happier and more confident and more financially secure and more giving and more charitable and more empathetic and more pleasant, more friendly, more amazing to be around. This person became somebody special. And then this person's family said, my God, you look absolutely amazing. You're doing so well. Can you help us do that too? So this person helped his family and changed the family. And then one day, this family, now this new and improved family, went out and they were walking together down their street through their neighborhood. And all the neighbors looked at them and said, wow, we've seen you guys completely evolve, completely change for the better. Can you help us change? And in a short period of time, the neighborhood changed. Everyone was happier. The streets were brighter. They were cleaner. The lawns were better taken care of. The children were playing freely throughout the streets. Neighbors were looking out for each other. Nobody was fighting over parking spots. The neighborhood got better. And then all the towns in the state looked in and said, what is that town doing to have such dramatic growth, such dramatic improvement? It is so nice to live in that town now. That's the marquee town in this state. What can we all do to be like that town? And in a short period of time, the state now was gaining the attention of the entire country for all the massive improvements, all the efficiency, all the quality of life standards, the economic boom, the things to do, the energy, the vitality. It became a destination place. The country looked in and said, wow, How can we all be like you? How can we, all the other states, be like that state? And so on and so forth. Until what happened? Until the entire world changed. And it doesn't happen by trying to change the world. It doesn't happen by trying to change your country or your state or your city or your neighborhood or your home or even that person closest to you. You can't change anyone. They will not change for you. Just like you won't change for anyone else. You'll only change for you. So you have to change yourself. You have to change your engagement with the external world. You have to change your view, your internal view of yourself. You have to challenge your thoughts, challenge your principles, challenge your paradigms, the things that you thought were correct. You have to constantly challenge that and always do what is right. Always challenge yourself to do what is right, even if it's harder. Even if it's not always in your immediate benefit, it will be in the long-term benefit for sure. Holding doors for people, right? We just saw the Larry David episode last night, some of you. Funny. That happens all the time. You're at a door. Do I hold it? Do I not hold it? I hold the door. And I'll get, more than enough people that'll just simply walk right by me and not even glance as if I'm the doorman. Not that you shouldn't give the same human courtesy and express gratitude to a doorman or woman, whoever's paid to be there. I'm just doing it out of my own challenge to be a good person. Holding the door for this person. How are you? Have a good day. Looks heavy. You need help there with that maybe. Something as simple as that. So taking that attitude in your own way and getting out in the world and pushing yourself. Be friendly to the barista. Be kind and polite to the waiter. Be grateful to the guy at the gas station. Be better. Challenge yourself to be better. Engage more with your community in a positive light. Engage with those around you, most importantly, in a positive light. Go out of your way to be a better person. That's rare these days, but don't believe the propaganda. Don't believe the propaganda. Don't believe of what you see these talking heads saying on news, crammed in between pharmaceutical commercials and Coca-Cola and Mercedes-Benz commercials, right? Think about this, please. Think about this. Think about this. Why do I have no TV in my house, no TV. We have the physical hardware of a television hanging on the wall that we choose very specific viewing examples for our family. There's Disney shows in our house and there's movies. I forget what the most recent movie, Star Trek. We watched the new Star Trek TV show the last 3 Sunday nights. Saved, downloaded, commercial free, no commercial at all, just a simple story. We also read a lot of books in our house, a lot of books, got them in the back office even. There's always a book, typically, around me, around my wife, around our children for sure, because we've unplugged from that digital media. Now I'm here, this is social media. A lot of people are like, oh, nice Dolce, where you're doing your YouTube video. I am, because this is the way that we can communicate, right? This is you guys, and you're part of our community, our collective community, all of us out there. So we're trying to have this conversation, and I said I don't talk about this stuff, and I'm not going to continue talking about it. This is, a very impactful day, what's happened here in Las Vegas. As of last count, there were 54 people murdered last night, and over 500 injured in the largest mass shooting in American history. It happened 12 minutes from my house, literally. So it's a powerful moment here for me. Last night was surreal, watching this all happen, because at first the news was reporting that there were multiple shooters in multiple casinos all over the Las Vegas Strip. What does that mean? Does that mean there's multiple shooters all over the city, all over the valley? Are tanks rolling down the streets? You don't know, we don't know. Twitter is giving us better information than the main news sources at that point. So now, as a husband, as a father, not as an individual person, what do we do? What's the next step? We have protocols, fortunately, in our home that we go on lockdown. My wife and I, we know what to do to the best of our ability. But we're well enough prepared for certain situations. And that was not a fun concept last night, to be switching that gear and to be doing, and without giving our stories away, without switching, without flipping that switch. That's not something that you want to do when you have your children upstairs sleeping. You don't want to be in that mindset or even preparing for that possibility, which at that point seemed a very real possibility. And during that time, I'm already seeing the political narrative come out, right? The conservative right is already pointing towards ISIS or crazed liberal, progressive Antifa, and the left is pointing towards gun laws and told you so's and the ban on silencers, politicizing the tragedy. That's what prompted this video. At dozens and dozens and thousands, literally thousands of people were affected firsthand because a family member was there. There's 30,000 people, from what I read, at that concert last night. 30,000 people. And many of whom might not have been able to get messages out. So you have parents at home, parents in Florida who sent their 22-year-old kid went to go to a rock or a country music concert, right? That's pretty damn American, pretty wholesome from what I understand, and especially because I'm here in town. When the country festivals come to town, there's not a lot of hooting and hollering. There's some alcohol drinking, but there's not a lot of damage. The crime rate doesn't blip. And that doesn't always happen with other conventions where groups of individuals all collect in town. It gets a little weird sometimes. Not to go down to the Strip. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a longer video, and it's something that I felt had to be said. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen. But really, stop with the propaganda. Know that you're watching propaganda. If you're watching it on television, if there's commercials in between, you're watching propaganda. Content for pay. That's all it is. It's content for pay, and they push these specific narratives. And you even know when your favorite pundit is piling up a big stack of shit. You know when they're jumping over facts that a unbiased person should listen to. So we need to start listening. You need to hear every side, all sides. But most importantly, you need to live your life in a manner that makes your world better. You need to live your life in a manner that shows those around you it's okay to be good. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to smile. It's okay to hold doors. It's okay to be friendly, especially to someone who might not look like you, might not think like you, might not act like you. Because I guarantee once you sweep away that title, the bullet points that we assume each other lives by, when you break down into the granular level, you're going to find pretty much the same people as you. Pretty much the same person you're staring at with different skin color, different clothes, different religious text in their hand, different job, different car. You get down to question, 11. What do you do? Where do you live? Where'd you go to school? You go down that list to your family. How's your mom and dad? You got any brothers or sisters? Do you have any kids? What sports or instruments do they play? Oh my God, mine too. and you start going down that list a little bit deeper, you're going to realize we're all the same. We're no different. We're no different. There's a very, 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 very small, less than single-digit percentage of sickos on this planet from all races and backgrounds and creeds and cultures and such. We cast them out. We banish them. We should all banish them collectively, banish them. They should be in jail or worse, all depending, right? All depending on their crime. In jail or worse. But the rest of us, the 99+% of us, are being controlled by the image and the narrative of that less than 1% of the crazies that are running around. And we can't allow that to happen. That's where this all goes sideways. That's where this all goes to shit. We look around at the anti-Trump protests and the anti, liberal, kickback and all that back and forth bullshit. That is just so mundane and so contrite and so old, right? It's so played out, and yet it works. They don't change the textbook. They don't change the textbook because the sheeple just blindly march and follow the music, right? And the sheeple in tens of millions, hundreds of millions just march that way. Because that's how they're plugged in. That's what they're told they should do. That's what they feel they should do. And that becomes the common ground for people to talk about, is what Tucker Carlson just said, what Rachel Maddow just said last night. Can you believe this and can you believe that? Well, I think this. It's bullshit. Ask your neighbor, ask your coworker how they're doing. How's their kid? How's Little League going? What's after this? Where's, the Billy Boy and Jane thinking about going to school? What field are they in? That's amazing. What are you guys going to do when you retire? Where are you going to retire to? Are you planning? Are you saving? How's all of that going? Why don't you have deeper conversations about people's lives instead of headline news, Yahoo News? Shit, Yahoo News is bullshit when within the first 3 news stories is something about Kim Kardashian or single mom pop star has baby, is pregnant from old boyfriend while now dating new boyfriend. Woo! And she turned it up, and she's lit, and she's throwing shade. That's not a news outlet, ladies and gentlemen. That shouldn't dictate your daily worldview, but it does for all too many of you. All too many of you know what's happening in the world of pop culture, and it doesn't do anything for you except guide you into a funnel, right? Just like a sheep going to slaughter, you get funneled all the way through until bloop, your head gets popped off at whatever, age. And, after all, your consumer debt has been hopefully consumed, and probably they have liens on your property so your kids can't get straight inheritances because you were a consumer all that time buying the Mercedes-Benz and buying the Levitra or whatever the pharmaceutical is and buying the Coca-Cola or McDonald's or whatever commercial programming has been stuffed into all that false propaganda and content. I'm going longer than I thought. I thought this was going to be a 7 to 10 minute video. Here we are at 33 minutes. This is cathartic for me after, being in close proximity to something so tragic. I don't want to act like it has nothing to do with me. My family's safe. We weren't there. Hopefully all of our friends are okay. We haven't heard anything bad of those that we know in our smaller community, but we have texts going in and out to many people, and I'm sure it's going to take a full day for most people to get back in touch. So as of right now, we're pretty insulated from that personal damage, no less than maybe you guys around the country, but you all feel it. But again, the proximity of it, 12 minutes, literally 12 minutes from my house, it makes it impactful. It makes it powerful. So I appreciate you guys hanging out for the last 34 or so minutes, listening to what I have to say. And again, to close is love everybody, not just your family, but your friends, but your coworkers, even the annoying ones, right? The people that you see on the subway, and then the guy who hands you your coffee every morning or your newspaper at the stand. How you doing? Good morning. How you doing? Good to see you today. Like, hey, haircut looks good. Something that simple. start spreading a little more joy and watch how that happens. Because it feels nice when someone says it to you, like, hey, what's up? You look great. I like the haircut. It looks good. That hat looks awesome on you. Those earrings are beautiful. Just a little nice pleasantry. Takes, how long does that take? 3 seconds to say one of those as you're engaging in someone briefly and out the door in 5? Just to share that positive intent, that positive energy. That's my hope. That's my suggestion. And be safe, everybody. You know, don't take these things for granted. Don't take today for granted. Be safe. Be mindful. Hopefully, we all have a wider, larger view of the world, of civilization, of community, of our place in it, and the brief amount of time that we're allotted to actually participate. It makes no sense to participate in a manner that is so negative and so divisive, right? It makes no sense to prop up those who do engage in such divisiveness. Those individuals should be banned, immediately banned from our consciousness. Not that they don't have the right to say what they want to say, that's fine, but I do not have to consume it. I do not have to allow it to affect me. Just like we don't have commercials in our home. We don't have public programming or private programming juiced into our home, being told what to do, what to buy, what to think. We don't listen to any of that commentary. We don't listen to any of it. And it was harder at first, the first year to 2 years when we did make that change. That's probably over 5 or so years or so now. But now it's hard to listen to any, walk into a friend's house and they're listening to the news or some television show. It's mind bending. I can't even listen to it. It's like fingernails scratched on a chalkboard. We need to shut that off and unplug. Try that. Try that for a week. Try that for 3 days. Try that for a week if you can. I'm giving you a whole list of things to do here now, aren't I? But if you can actually not watch TV for an entire 7 days, and if you have a favorite show, DVR it and do not listen to the commercials. You know, I'm not saying live in a hole somewhere, but no, you got a favorite show, cool, watch the show. Don't listen to the commercials. Never listen to the commercials. Don't listen to any of the propaganda. Don't listen to the news stories. Don't listen to the late night talking heads either, because they're all pushing their own political agenda and their own media agenda. That's the crazy thing of it, right? They're pushing politics and media in this same dose, and those with the bigger audiences are more political and more greedy from a media perspective. So the bigger the show, the more financed the show, the more propaganda you're actually going to be consuming. Lots of good podcasts, lots of good social accounts to follow. My suggestion is always follow everybody on all sides. Get all the story, then you can determine what's real and what's not. All right, guys, I appreciate you all, and we'll be back with regular health, fitness, motivation, lifestyle change content in the next one. Talk soon. Boom.